Hollywood Animal covers a large part of the 20th century and portrays many features of the film industry and society as a whole, among them manifestations of discrimination, intolerance, and various forms of violence. We believe that to ignore and suppress these matters, no matter how terrible or unfair they may seem, would be to pretend that they never existed. New Year, 1929. The hitism of the 20s gives way to the Great Depression. Okay. The advent of talkies heralds the golden age of Hollywood, and life gives way to cinema. Film companies fiercely compete for market and influence. The strong devour the weak. You purchase a bankrupt studio to build a new business on its ruins. Name and logo, Hollywood Animal. I actually like the name. Do we got a fox? If we got a fox, I would be so happy. Snake. We got a llama. Deer. That's a fox, right? That's a fox? I'm pretty sure that's a fox. So the llama is pretty cute. We're going with that. I'm pretty sure that's a fox. I'm going to leave the name. I actually like the Hollywood Animal. Okay. Let's see. Movies are not only made by actors and directors. Your film studio also employs people who quietly keep the machine running behind the scenes. What are their names? Fred Lawson, Anne Rose, and Johnny Payne. I'm leaving the names. I'm not changing them. Along the ground studios, you also received the footage from an unfinished movie. Filming was completed but was never edited. You'll need to complete the picture. What is this movie? We got Limpin' Luke, a robot action-adventure Wild West, Blind Love, romance comedy, a modern American town, and The Messenger of Death, detective thriller, modern American city. Let's go with this one. A prison break. One gloomy morning, 7 Quentin bounty prisoners stunned the guards, snuck into the warehouse, and escaped the prison, hidden in a truck. Most of the fugitives were serving for theft and assault, but one of them was a true menace. The antagonist, Nick Crow, played by Edward Peterson. The prisoner's name is Nick Crow, but the papers all called him the courier. He brought flowers to young women and then killed them. After 5 murders, the police captured the courier on a lucky break, but they were never able to determine his motives. The maniac's first victim was his own fiancée, but the choice of the rest of the girls seemed random. The very next day after the escape, the courier had already returned to his old ways. Dressed like a messenger, he delivered flowers to a young Rita Peterson, then stabbed her to death. Bill Zeman, Rita's fiancé, returned from work that evening to find his beloved dead upon the floor, as his own desperate screams echoed through the neighborhood. Okay, I don't think it needs anything from me. So we'll just roll with it. The protagonist, a detective. Harry Burgo is played by Joe Duvall. Bill had little faith in the local police, so he hired a private investigator, Harry Burroughs. Harry was a young man, but he had sharp wits and a keen mind, enough to solve dozens of difficult cases, and even earn him the reputation of a genius. Rita and I had just got engaged, Bill Zeman offered helplessly as Harry examined the crime scene. The police had already taken away the body, but the bouquet of roses still remained on the living room floor. Compliments of the courier. Kathy Watts, played by Bessie Patterson. Harry looked around the house and talked to the neighbors, but he couldn't catch a lead. He decided to contact Kathy Watts, a journalist who covered the Courier murders in detail. Kathy came right away, carrying a hefty file. She got right to the point. After the previous murders, I talked to Crow's friends and learned about a cheap old shack he acquired long ago. It's past the city limits heading north. I told the police about the place when they arrested Crow 2 years ago, but they just brushed me off. They figured the case was already closed. Harry and Kathy hit the road, and soon enough they found the right house. It was a broken-down hut, obviously unsuitable to live in, but our heroes then saw a man in front of the house, locking the door. As Harry's car approached, the stranger took off running towards the woods. Harry drew his gun and leapt from the car, but the man was already gone. We scared him off. Let's have a look inside. With that, Harry kicked down the door. The shack was practically empty. A carved wooden box drew Harry and Kathy's attention. Inside were 6 diamond rings, trophies. Rita was recently engaged, and the courier was engaged to his first victim. What about the rest of the girls? Harry asked. Kathy flipped through the documents in her folder. Interesting. All the victims were soon to be getting married. Harry and Kathy trawled recent newspapers, looking for engagement announcements. 2 couples surfaced, Rita and Bill, a tragedy already familiar to us, and also a certain Sandy Wick and her fiancé Tom. Harry and Kathy visited Sandy, who was happy to speak of yesterday's strange visitor. Yes, some messenger came with a bouquet of roses. No card, no note, just a bouquet. I decided it must have been some kind of mistake, and I didn't take the flowers. The messenger just apologized and left. Harry immediately had a plan. He and Kathy hired a photographer and posed as an engaged couple. They made sure to capture Harry's rented yellow brick house, the only one in the area. They advertised their engagement in the newspaper's morning edition and paid an extra $10 to have the photo printed beside the article. At noon the next day there was a knock at the door, and Kathy opened it, and there stood Nick Crow, the courier, smiling nervously in the doorway with a bouquet of roses. This is from a secret admirer. Kathy feigned delight, took the bouquet and ran to put it in a vase, leaving the door wide open. The courier stepped into the house, pulled out his knife, raised it, but then he felt a pistol at his temple. Harry's pistol. The courier grew wild. You don't understand. 2 years ago I was supposed to marry my dear Rachel, when suddenly she starts receiving anonymous bouquets. I became jealous, but she just laughed and accepted all the flowers, no matter how many or how secret they might be. 1 week later I caught her in some jerk's car. All these animals are the same. First they say it's only flowers, and then they break your heart. They deserve to be punished. The courier won't be delivering any more flowers. This time he was sentenced to an electric chair. Harry added another win to his list of cases, and Kathy wrote a book about the courier. She called it Messenger of Death. This shows the movie's commercial appeal. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audience. The higher it is, the more easily a film will succeed with the general audi This movie shows the movie's artistic appeal. The higher it is, the more recognition it can expect from the sophisticated audience. The film's commercial and artistic appeal may change after each stage of development. The film's Messenger of Death received these ratings after work on the script was completed. The screenwriter Maurice Fox loves to write detective stories. Thanks to his experience and talent, the investigation turned out to be suspenseful and intriguing. The story's elements came together to form a coherent whole. Oh no, Joe died? That's terrible. After pre-production, the film's ratings rose even higher. Casting famous actors is the surest way to boost commercial and artistic appeal. But other factors also influence the ratings, including quality, scenery, and modern equipment. After the production phase, the film's commercial appeal declined. The lead actor became seriously ill. He couldn't fight and looked too thin. However, the film's artistic appeal grew. Joe Duvall tried to make up for his lack of physique with the subtlety of his acting. Production problems were reflected in the lengthened schedule. Unfortunately, the actor passed away after finishing work on this film. This is how much money the studio has spent on the picture. This isn't the final budget, as work on the film is not yet complete. This is how creators of Messenger of Death imagine their potential audience. When you start shooting your own picture, you'll identify your own audience. Messenger of Death is a subtle psychological thriller with a dark atmosphere and engaging dialogue. The film's audience are adult men and women, people who enjoy a serious tone and an intricate plot. Time to send the footage to post-production to complete the film. Assign employees to handle editing and scoring. At present, the studio's personnel are not the most qualified, but over time their skills will grow. It despises people with the wrong skin tone. No shape or eye shape. Oh my gosh. We also need to decide who will develop the film and record the music and sound effects. Outside contractors are always ready to help with this. Alright, so film development. We'll go with this guy. Music recordings. And sound musicians. You planned out post-production, but until you assign a department head, you won't be able to get things moving. To hire new employees, first appoint an HR director. God, he is expensive. We'll go with this middle guy. We'll go happiness. Hire a distribution head? I don't know. How do I get out of the screen? Okay. Didn't I do this already? I don't know. Okay, post-production has begun. Here you can see how far along the project is and how quickly it is progressing. Can I, just move this ahead? Evergreen Movies has released after 5. I can't. It's going too fast. Up on the top left-hand corner there. I mean, I could slow it down, but I don't want to. Okay. The film's commercial and artistic ratings dropped a bit. Don't be upset. You did everything you could. Your studio still has a low-level employees and technology. This one doesn't make any sense. This one I think would be your best bet. The release calendar displays all the films being shown across America for the foreseeable future. The studio's previous owners already chose a release date for this film. You'll choose the release date of the next film yourself. You don't just own a studio, but a whole network of 91 cinemas. You can run your films in your cinema for free, but that's not going to be enough to reach a wide audience. You'll have to rent other theaters if you want solid box office receipts. The studio's previous owners already arranged this and paid the film's rental costs. In the first week, the film is scheduled to be shown 7,885 times. Some 3,185 of those screenings will take place in your cinemas, leaving 4,000 screenings across to other cinemas. Next time, you'll have to plan for this and pay the rental costs yourself. The screenings and rentals are scheduled out 4 weeks from release. Once they expire, you can extend your rentals if you think the film can still make a profit. They'll start printing the film tomorrow and will be finished and ready for distribution in 5 weeks. Distribution goes out all at once when they finish printing. Printing speed and cost vary by contractor. The studio's previous owners already paid to have this film printed. Typically, a film begins promotions a few weeks before the premiere, so the advertising has time to gain momentum. The studio's previous owners already arranged the advertising campaign, but in the future you'll decide everything yourself. Your film is being promoted by an advertising agency. It's time to tell them the audience that they should target. The studio's previous owners already paid the agency for the promotion of 3 films. After that, you'll have to arrange the advertising yourself. For adults only. Audiences will soon be watching your first film. Good luck. It's time to start working on a new movie. First, build a department for developing scripts. All the way out here? Seriously? Big difference, but we're gonna go with let's see, Daryl Turner. If you ask me, Messenger of Death is a surefire hit. A farewell film by a young star. The story has a soul, but it will all go to waste unless it's released at the right moment. The studio's former owners were mindful of these things. They scheduled production carefully and chose a good window for releasing the film. Right when public would be hungry, there was practically no competition. But when the old studio closed its doors, those parasites from Margine's Pictures decided Messenger of Death would never see the light of day. I don't know who was pulling their strings, but they convinced all the theater owners to give them our slots. The film of Margins are releasing and said, doesn't even have a title yet, but you know what kind of slop they serve their audience? Probably something like Yesterday's Fart or Wet Armpits. The truth is on our side. We'll have all the documents, but the court battle would be long and pointless. We'll miss the moment. No compensation will cover that. Instead, I suggest we use all our connections, all our influence, remind the theater owners that our agreements have to be honored. Agreed. Let's let them know that deal is a deal and get our slots back. I don't know what the 50 is. You can spend influence points, IP, to advance your interests and solve problems in various and often unconventional ways. You can speed up or slow down the passage of time. I got divorced a couple years ago, and I figured I was out of chances until I met Gilda. We spent all our time together. We can't get enough of each other. It's always like that at the beginning, but we've been together a year now. We're like a drug to each other. I feel guilty for even mentioning it, but when Gilda visits me at work, I absolutely cannot concentrate. She enraptures me. Yesterday, I nearly made a mistake in the paperwork that could have cost the studio a lot of money. Please do me a favor and help me fight this addiction. Let's introduce some kind of access control so Gilda just can't walk into my office. Yes, my heart will be broken like any drug addict, but I'd hate to hurt your business and ruin my career. Let's do this. Sure, we'll start controlling access. We've got to fight our addictions. Joe Duvall in Messenger of Death. I don't know, death comes for all. The KinoMark rating system measures audience reviews on the day of the premiere. If you're sure you released a quality film, but people aren't appreciating it, then you may have lured the wrong audience to the theaters. Fascinating farewell from a real actor's actor. The tragedy that the film's title would turn out to be so prophetic for our beloved Joe Duvall. The movie that will constantly keep you in suspense, the main villain is so creepy you could faint. Anyone who watches the film will have dreams about the knife scene for a long time. You might find it difficult to sit through this brutal and chilling film, but Joe Duvall's triumph role rewards the efforts. His death is a tragedy to every woman. An exciting detective story whose title mirrors with the tragic fate of the film star. Could this really just be a coincidence? Oh, we made a profit. Construction of the script department is going according to plan so far, but there's a small snag. According to the architect's vision, the large red leaf maple should be the central decorative element. The contractors found a suitable tree in the reserve on the border between Ontario and Minnesota, and already agreed on a price and transportation. But the inspector who issues the permit is playing coy. He says he can't say how long the paperwork will take. Maybe a week, maybe a month, or two. You know as well as I do, sometimes you need to grease the gears. $200 cash on the tree will be on the road to California tonight. I don't want all our plans disrupted because of some petty bureaucrat. What do you think? Okay, let's hope he chokes on his table scraps. When an issue needs to be resolved quickly and discreetly, the funds in the studio bank account can be useless. When the situation gets tricky, cash is king. Let's say $200 was like really nothing, I guess, as far as a bribe goes. We are making bank on that movie. Screenwriters turn ideas into screenplays. Alright. Hire a head. Okay, super loyal. Oh, wait. He's happy, but not very loyal. I'm gonna go with this guy. Choose your favorite genres. This is what your writing team will specialize in. Adventure, thriller, action. These are the scriptwriters remaining from the studio's former staff. I'm fine with their names. To begin work on a new script, select the script department building. The department worked up several ideas for the first script. Choose an idea you like, and a screenwriter will develop it into a full screenplay. Okay, so we've got a modern city, romance, action, working man, cop. Okay. Continue to develop your film studio as key to success. Pick an upgrade for your department. No matter who is working on your script department, no one knows better than you what a film needs to be successful. With this upgrade, you can write your own stories. Some improvements take a while. Department heads will, in time, learn to speed up the process, so it's wise to hold on to your experienced employees. Professional, let's see. The first 4 weeks were successful. The film is still making a lot more money at the box office than we're paying in rental fees. We'll make a lot more if we extend our original distribution plan. Click extend distribution to keep playing the movie for another 4 weeks under the same terms. What did you put? A production department. mean, it's not the most exciting action-packed of games. I'm not mad about it. Profit. I was poring over a pile of documents I inherited and came across something rather interesting. Turns out the previous studio promised the late Joe Duvall 25% at the box office for the film Messenger of Death. Seems this condition was added at the last minute. It was introduced as an amendment to the main contract just a few days before Duvall's death. No one even warned us about it. Apparently Duvall's family doesn't even know about it. And what difference should it make to them? Over his 5-year career, the guy starred in 8 hits. His inheritance should be enough to cover for several generations. Not that it would anyway, of course. The only people enjoying Duvall's money are his drunk father and his 2 aunts. The box office take has been substantial. The percentage we owe him is $799,198. So should we contact his relatives and tell them that they can start looking for another beachfront villa? Maybe his father will drink all the money away in a week, but we still have to pay. I borrowed a little money from some people. They seem like good guys. They had honest eyes, and I'm a great judge of people. But now, some annoying jerk is following me around everywhere, demanding I pay off the debt. I'd return the whole amount today, but I need a little time to recoup. You know what they say, you might be strong, but the cards are always stronger. That's all nonsense, by the way. I'll show the cards who's boss, so can you let me go for a couple months while I sort this mess out? No. Drink from my skull. These actors remained at the studio after it changed ownership. What are their names? I'm fine with them. The legendary Lydia Globe is back in the saddle, nearly. Yeah, honey, I know you expected me to start a new film right away, but getting used to talking is taking longer than I expected. Gotta understand, a bird that's used to flying in the clouds can't just dive to the bottom of the ocean without a little preparation first. I'm doing speech exercises with masters of the stage, stretching my vocal cords, drinking 8 cocktails, getting that velvety voice in the morning. You can already notice a difference. That's right, honey. So please, I'm begging you. I mean, really begging you. Give me 3 more months to get ready for my first talking role. All right. I can give you 3 more months if that's the best thing. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to my choosing. Jane Fisher, I hear Lydia Globe is coming back out of retirement. Or what I actually heard was that she never retired at all. She just went off to work on her voice so she can steal even more roles from us. It's too much to hope for, but the greedy bitch did finally retire. That's got to be an ounce of justice in this business. I'll take it into consideration. These are the places where the events of the film take place. The characters spend most of their time at the locations highlighted in gold, so most of the filming will take place there. Only minor scenes will be filmed at a secondary location. You need to decide which scene should be shot on a soundstage and which would be better filmed on location. Select the location quality. On a soundstage, location quality involves filming equipment, scenery, and design. Outdoors, the emphasis is on the beauty and authenticity of the natural scenes. If you plan to film some of the film scenes on a soundstage, select which soundstage you want to use. You can always change your mind about this project and cancel it. The script will be shelved until a more opportune moment arises. Oh, actually. It won't let me choose. Like, it's making me choose this. The total filming time is the sum of all the filming days at each location, plus Saturdays and Sundays in between. But why couldn't I choose the stage? Like, I would imagine the native settlement in the cave could have been done on a stage, but it wouldn't even let me choose that. Um, I guess. I don't know. Sure. I clicked it so far off. All right. Naturally, I never doubt your competence. I just want to give you a little professional advice. Choose actors who are at least the same level as the script. The script is good, but the actor is lousy. They'll drag the film down. To begin the pre-production process, you'll first need to officially stamp and approve your plans. I just got a call from Ed Miller, a journalist for the Los Angeles Tribune. He says he fell in love with our first film and wants us to honor him with a tour of the studio. I'm no idiot, of course. Miller doesn't write about movies. He's an investigative journalist. Recently, a cement plant in Santa Barbara was closed after one of his articles was published, and for the record, the cement they made there was excellent. One of the 10 best in the state. I don't know what this asshole hopes to find out, but he likes to pluck colorful facts out of the air. Fortunately, he likes beautiful women even more. Let's choose a young actress this week, someone loyal and not too talkative. She can show Miller around the studio and drink champagne with him, charm him with her charisma. I bet we'll have him melting. Agreed. Best to be on the safe side. Loans. I don't want a loan. You allowed a Los Angeles Tribune journalist free reign of the studio, and he took full advantage of the opportunity. The scariest part is how much time he spent in the accounting department. I'm waiting in horror for tomorrow's Los Angeles Tribune. An investigative published by the Los Angeles Tribune journalist Ed Miller delves in the connection between bootleggers and Hollywood. According to Miller, some film studios launder alcohol money through their cinema chains. The writer doesn't provide any hard facts, but instead makes do with implications and circumstantial evidence. Hollywood Animal is specifically mentioned in his story. Why was it necessary to buy out a studio that has just gone bankrupt? Certainly not to make movies. I think you know the answer. Ouch. Fine. Even the most depressing and cynical of times, reputation in Hollywood isn't just an empty word. Reputation problems can block access to loans, new technologies, and many other opportunities. But we did the sexy girl. Was the sexy girl for nothing? Okay, we're gonna come back to that, maybe. I want to go here. Oh, okay. Name of the movie? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Remember, not every film needs an antagonist. A romantic comedy, for instance, can do without a clearly defined villain. Um, I don't know. I don't want to say that I am the B word. I am a little too idle, if that is the kindest way that I can put it. Sometimes accidents happen during the production of a film. You can intervene and try to solve the problem, or you can just ignore it, although that's unlikely to help the film. Peter Harris brings a very noisy dog to the shoot. The animal won't stop barking for a minute unless it's whining or howling morning and night. Most of the crew is praying the dog will die. I chose to hire someone to walk the dog. I feel my vocal cords strengthening, my timbre is developing, and I'm honing my dictation. Soon, a word talking about how the quality of how well you speak, and I can't say it. Soon I'll be a star on the stage as well as the screen, but professional growth takes time. Could you give me another 2 months to complete my training course? I promise, when I'm back on set, my acting skills will blow you away. I guess. Take 2 more months, whatever. This is just the demo, I don't care. After 5 days of heavy drinking, David Gutman fell out of his third-floor apartment window straight onto the sidewalk. Fortunately, he walked away with a few bruises, but not before he spent some time crawling around to the amusement of the passerbys. As he was crawling and calling for his mother, as luck would have it, a Los Angeles Tribune reporter was passing by. The next day, everyone was talking about David Gutman's wild behavior. Well, that's not good. I'm pretty sure I picked him to play a character on the movie. Seems like you don't have enough people available right now to set up pre-production for this project. Keep in mind that you can hire additional people. Open the casting office upgrade to pre-production department, then you can hire actors, directors, and cinematographers. Build a producer's office to hire new producers. All right, so we'll come back to that. Have you heard of the Wandering Malcolm? God knows what his real name is, but everyone just calls him Wandering Malcolm. For 4 years straight, he's been knocking on the door of every film studio he can find, script under his arm. He's an odd one, sometimes real nosy, even a little scary. Sometimes he calms down and gets all sad, and sits smoking by the side of the road. He's refusing to submit a script for consideration or even share his synopsis. Says he's afraid someone will steal his brilliant ideas. He'll only agree to sell it for $1,000 cash money in advance. This morning, he literally jumped on top of my car when I arrived at work. I even managed to get a look at the title page of his script, Rotten Fates, while the man was scrambling around on my windshield. I was about to call security, but then I thought, what the hell? Maybe today we'll take a risk. He can't write any worse than our regular studio parasites. What a nice way to talk about your studio writers. Rotten fleas. Interesting. Drama, romance. So it's only letting me choose okay. Oh, it's because I probably don't have a stage, right? Oh, that suddenly makes sense. Hopeless romantic. Oh, a rival. Okay. Lately, I often hear that the age is just a number. Even 80, a person can feel young. But when people go to the movies, their expectations are more conservative. Everyone wants the hero's beloved to be a younger, and he wants the evil sorcerer to be older. I'm just pointing it out. Took the family to see your latest movie last night, and I gotta tell you, it's a lovely evening. Can't remember the last time my wife and daughter laughed so much. It was like going to the amusement park, but it only took 2 hours instead of 6. Of course, that's every man's number one job. Keep the woman and children happy, wouldn't you say? My daughter sure thinks so. Never stops reminding me, Dad, you promised to make me happy, and I'll only be happy if I become an actress. I swear she's been talking about it since she was 8, and she's already 19. I used to say I don't have those kinds of connections, but now I'm the mayor, and I can't brush her off so easy. And what kind of mayor would I be anyway, if I can't even make my own Wendy happy? Anyway, I'm asking you to put her in one of your movies. She's a clever girl, just like her pop. Just tell her where to stand and what to say, or whatever it is you do, and she'll handle everything beautifully. Just make sure to keep it decent. Nothing dirty, right? I don't have anything against it. Business is business. But this is my little princess, you know. I could give her a role and release the film within 2 years, but I can't guarantee it's a hit. Oh, I understand that. If there was any business gave you a sure thing, I wouldn't need to be a mayor. Wendy Carpenter? Interesting. Thanks to an influential father, Wendy Carpenter is now one step closer to her acting dreams. But it's best to shield her from the real Hollywood. We wouldn't want to break the poor girl's heart. I see you got the hang of the business real quick. Don't worry, kid. I don't bite. Unless, of course, you count that time we were filming The Hungry Vulture. But first of all, it was Bo Quincy directing an exquisite dragess. I don't have to tell you how it is. Second, it's just one finger, not 3. I paid the papers to embellish the story just for a hoot. And third, they sewed Quince's finger back on and he was fine. But why are we talking about me? Let's talk about you, the new king of the movie jungle. A lion, a shark. It's just about time for me to retire, don't you think? I can't compete with stallions like you. So, how do you like the industry, kid? Anybody giving you any trouble? If you have a problem with anyone, don't be shy. Talk to me. Uncle Arthur can sort everything out. Got me, kid? Thank you. I think I got it. Have you ever met Arthur Gernstein in person? Only a few actors and directors ever heard his voice, even the ones working for his studio. He runs Gernstein Brothers through deputies and assistants. They say he's like the emperor who never leaves his chambers, but last night, by surprise, he suddenly called me personally, and he offered me a contract to sign. As you can imagine, he said all kinds of nasty things about our studio. The most polite words he used were garbage dump. I don't want to leave. I like it here, but I like to get a small reward for my loyalty. If we can't come up to an agreement, I'm ready to forfeit $65,000 for an early termination of my contract. Okay, let's discuss it. Right. This is lucky. The studio's previous owners had some blackmail material on this actor. You can use blackmail material if someone refuses to work with you or ask for too much. If you want blackmail material for anyone else, you'll have to dig it up yourself. He wants the 20K, huh? Alright, that's fine. Just... The share prices of Veen Pascal, Perry Zola Company, and dozens of other companies have fallen up to 30% at the end of trading on the New York Stock Exchange. In a single day, panicked investors sold 13 million securities. Financial analysts predict the collapse of the American economy. Ouch. Oh, I can't. I got them. They're all working. Wants to be sure he's doing the Lord's work and asks the camera to be blessed with holy water every morning before filming begins. That wasn't what I wanted to do at all. Nope. Totally kidding. I'm ready to shine. I feel empowered, inspired, and creative. Not the same old Lydia Globe you used to know, always squeaking like a little gray mouse. Now I can roar like a lion. Alright. Oop. The game may have just crashed. Okay, no, we're fine. I got a little nervous. What am I... I see you decided to limit yourself to short advertising campaigns. I don't doubt the wisdom of your choices. I should just point one thing out. Advertising up to the end of the movie will attract more viewers. Right. We received an unexpected letter from Luke's Constructions. They're claiming they signed an agreement with the studio's previous owners. We're supposed to spend within the next... Right, Yesterday, my friend got drunk at a party and she asked me to help her get home. We dropped by her studio on the way, and I must say, I despise the Grinstons, but their studio is impressive. Apricots growing everywhere, golden koi swimming in the fountains, and marble sidewalks polished to a shine. I was offended when I heard at Grinstein Brothers they call our studio a barnyard. They say the only vegetation here is tumbleweed, and you have to cover your face in a scarf so you don't choke on the dust. I thought maybe we could improve the grounds a little. After all, the Grinsteins are no better than us. Yeah. You can change the level on amenities in the maintenance department. Okay, what do I do? Now everyone Spencer's alright. Whatever. One single evening in Detroit, 105 people died of alcohol poisoning. Among the deceased, the renowned actor Henry Garcia. The media is blaming the management of the Boxer plant for the incident. They take to mixing poison in the industrial alcohol to combat the theft of solvents. Investigators from the Bolt newspaper believe the poison alcohol somehow found its way into the underground bars of Los Angeles as well. Director Alton May commented on the incident in the Fun Times magazine. For the death of my friend and colleague, I ask you to blame the idiot congressman who voted for the prohibition. I like to hear what they say when something like this happens to their children. I went to Africa once. I don't remember much about the country, but you know what stuck with me? I'll tell you. There's not a single decent restaurant, and there's garbage and beggars everywhere. Some scientists believe Africans live so poorly because they are predisposed to mud disease and theft. According to the scientific theory I heard, the decline begins once there's more than one Negro for every four whites. We're getting dangerously close here. It's even begun to affect the air. It's like the faint whiff of an old zoo. Fear God and don't argue with science. I'm begging you, get rid of the blacks. Don't throw away your business and ruin all of your employees' careers. Actually, you were the problem. This was your last day working at my studio. Um... Oh, geez, Jack, you're expensive. Bernard Larson spoke with a correspondent on the Sword and Christ newspaper about his dismissal from the Hollywood Animal. The Lord created us in his own image and likeness, so let's just say the people I had to deal with there created the image of other dirty and stinking God. I don't know about you, but I refuse to worship that. Ouch. I can't record it. I guess we're at a standstill while we wait. We're gonna go bankrupt. No girl or woman should ever have to watch this. Our time is precious, and wasting it on such a flaccid spectacle is hardly short of criminal. I'd rather have spent our time sleeping, or mowing the lawn, or catching flies. We can only hope that this travesty was an incompetent oversight, and not, as it seems, the deliberate sabotage of an entire art form. Okay. Why? Why can't I click them? We're only filming one thing. Oh. Okay, now we can hire. I'm strangely liking it, but I'm also strangely like, again, I don't want to say the bored word. It's not, I'm not bored. A little too idle. I don't have a murderer. Oh, but there was no female either. Oh, that's a problem. All right. Okay. Profit. All right, we'll go ahead and say end distribution. Word is Arthur Grinstein is furious after the excess of drink from my skull. Despite you tried to lure Russell Simmons over to Grinstein Brothers. Nobody knows exactly what he proposed, but the deal fell through, and Grinstein promised to get even with the actor. I wouldn't take that as an idle threat, and it could get a lot uglier than a bloody nose. Can you imagine what a jealous bastard he is? Let's build a security office inside a bodyguard to Russell Simmons. This could save us all kinds of problems. Well, good thing the thing is almost done. Alright. Peter Harris shot his neighbor's dog. He says the dog was barking all night and wouldn't let him sleep. Now the neighbor's wife is telling everyone that they live next to a lunatic or a maniac. Sooner or later, the story is going to reach a journal. What should we do? we'll pay the woman and ask her to forget. Can you stop for a second? How do I release protection? Casting all of this. Oh, ouch. Who are we protecting? Was it Russell Simmons? I already forgot. Or was it Peter Harris? Or was it David Gutman? Man, I don't remember anything. Dirty tricks, huh? Oh, well. Whoops. Uh, I was recently been hearing that our cinema is producing or is approaching the pure European model. A few years ago, I have laughed at the thought, but today I might even agree. The portrayal of characters, the nuance of conflict, the attention to detail, even a sophisticated cinephile such as myself has to admit, we're seeing progress. I've little doubt this is something to do with your personality. That's why it's so strange to see policemen in films even today still acting like idiots and klutzes. How long can this outdated nonsense go on? I assure you, in real life, the police are a team of strong men and close friends, always ready to lend our broad shoulders to those in need and shield the persecuted with our mighty physiques. True brotherhood. We're like modern day musketeers. Maybe it's time someone makes a movie that shows the police risking their lives for the people, show everyone who we really are. I like to show my gratitude. Having a friend on the force can be a help in any business. Oh my gosh, so many things happening at once. All right. Okay. Location. 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 Farm. Alright, that's going. I'm trying really hard to get a film in production for this. What was he playing? I think we're gonna miss out on that one girl. Blue Line Redemption, I guess. Um... let's see. What do we want? Search for a killer. Did I protect the wrong one? Left security. An anti-prohibition parade took place in Syracuse, small city in New York State. The protest was organized by local activists after a series of news articles connected mass poisonings in different parts of the country. About 100,000 people took to the streets. One of the parade organizers was the actor Edgar Lambert. "I'm proud of the city where I was born and raised. I'm proud of the people who live here," said Edgar in a comment to the U.S. Post. "We organized this parade not because we're alcoholics who can't tear themselves away from the bottle. This is a protest against the lies, against the killing and destroying the economy of the United States. And we will win, and the perpetrators will go to prison." Most irritating sorts of flaws. Garden variety slag of the crudest order. Yesterday, she said she started looking at the same old LA sun. Chelsea isn't real, but don't worry, I'm not crazy. I invented her especially so I could push all my vices onto her. An old friend taught me that trick. He and I, well, let's say we have similar hobbies. Chelsea and I are usually getting along fine. But she started screaming so loud my head nearly exploded. I'm going to start wearing a blindfold. That'll teach Chelsea a lesson. Let her sit in the dark and think about her behavior. Can you let me go? For 3 months. Sure. I'm having an actor problem. All right. Oh, I actually meant to say not extend. Oops. Peters Harris has an incident. He escaped with minor injuries, but he won't be able to work for some time. We've already filmed over half the scenes with Peter Harrison, so we can't just replace him. Oh, like, weird. Okay. Oh, I should have done protection against surveillance and espionage. Oops. Very recently, I own a small distillery in Sonoma that I inherited from my grandfather. Yesterday, the manager called me and said that there was a fire. I'll need, yeah, go. Evergreen Movies producer Tommy Carlson has been sentenced to life in prison. He lured children and teenagers to his country house, drugged them, then raped and strangled them. Police found the remains of 9 bodies in the basement of his house. All of his victims were between 8 and 14 years old. On the day it was announced, protesters gathered outside the courthouse holding up signs reading, "Hollywood is killing our children." They are demanding that the criminal be handed over to them for a people's trial. The police had to intervene and 27 people were detained. Lynching is not acceptable, but I understand how the people feel all across America, said Texas State Senator Jake McGillicuddy in a commentary to the USA Post. Wild animals belong in the ground, not among the living. This applies to many people in Hollywood. All they ever think about is the murder, the smut, and the drunkenness. Commenting on Tommy Carlson's verdict, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Gregory Feifel warned, "What happened to these children are the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there are dozens, if not hundreds, of these stories in Hollywood. But we'll get it all out." She's the evil monster. I love it. In the past week, hundreds of newspapers across the country printed a column by Joe Green, a businessman and religious activist from Alabama. A veteran of the Great War, Green is best known for the sermon he delivered 8 years ago, with which he single-handedly ended the racial riots in his native Montgomery. In the new article, Green reflects on the recent story of a producer who turned out to be a child murderer. Today, we turn the other cheek. Today, we say a quiet prayer. Today, we are willing to believe that this is just an isolated incident. But if Hollywood continues to breed violence, tomorrow will be different. But the composer has some unusual ideas for the score. Instead of a violin, he wants to record crowing roosters. In place of drums, he asks for a human skull and bones. But he's already unhappy. Okay, how do I get a casting office? I keep trying, man. Yeah. Yeah, go. Oh, it's 2 scriptwriters we lost back to back. They all want vacation. Okay, we really need to figure out how to do a... How do I... I really need that casting thing, but I have not seen it at all. Director wants to set a horse on fire. The whole crew is horror. Tell him no way. Brought a cat to set, then ran away. Now Wendy's crying nonstop. Everyone's gonna look for her. There's one thing I don't get. Back home in Ireland, everyone was constantly telling me how to live. At first my fucking pa, then my teacher, then my pastor. Then the law. First chance I got, I dumped the slums for America, land of the freedom. Sounded like a nice change, but before I even had a chance to look around, get on my feet and start earning my bread, your fucked up government banned drinking. What the fuck, right? Back in Ireland, every motherfucker I met made it their sworn duty to decide what I could and couldn't do. But even they never tried that shit. The right to drink is sacred. That's what freedom is, as the people have apparently forgotten, right? Well, let's remind them. Everybody here loves movies, and they want to live like the people they see in the movies, right? Then let's show them the normal man who likes to have a glass or two of rye after work. And in the film, everything is fine with him. He's respected at work. He's got a beautiful car. This would be a good business for you and a good business for me. And keep it nice and fair. Let's say on the day of premiere, I'll pay you $300,000 as a goodwill gesture. And sure, I know to take care of my friends, your industry is pretty fucked up. Maybe there's a fucking snitch that needs to get shut up, or maybe you need someone to sniff out some dirt. I can help with all that. You're clearly a businessman. Not like these other fucking idiots. All right. Oop. I don't know. 900 days? That is a lot of time. Like, movie industry would change significantly. The technology industry would change significantly. What am I missing? Okay. Should be mother of pearl velvet. Alright, whatever. The night hides secrets, but the... Oh, gosh. Typos everywhere. But the shadows reveal the truth. Are you stuck? This is where he digs a grave, but it looks like he's never held a shovel in life. No one received experience because none of our ones were good. That's not making any money down there. used to work as a fireman, so he usually kicks the door down during the fight scene. It doesn't look spectacular enough. Order a stronger door. That's The Shining. Wasn't that a problem with the door? The armored door was too strong and injured his knee while filming the fight scene. Ugh. This movie is not making me any money. We'll have to come back to that because we are too busy. Production of the Statue of New Liberty is about to wrap. There's just the last big kiss scene on the collapsing bridge left to film. It's a dangerous stunt, very complicated. We're using Sergio the handyman for the stunt double. He's brilliant, but, well, you know they call him the handyman, right? Usually it's no big deal. This is show business, after all. But he'd be playing the scene with Wendy Carpenter. And I seem to recall you promised the mayor you'll keep all the girls' shots clean. We can't rewrite the scene. The whole film leads up to it. We're talking about the climax of the picture, and we can't film the stunt without Wendy. She's in close-ups the whole time. I've already asked around. The only stuntman besides Sergio who can handle a stunt like this is currently filming in France and won't be available for a month. And he charged a ridiculous price. What should we do? I can talk to Sergio, of course. We've been through this before. He nods his head and then he just can't help himself. Better not take any rest. We'll wait for the replacement stuntman. I would like to begin our acquaintance with a confession. I cheated on my first history of law exams. Yes, I graduated from the university best in my class. And I'm not one to pack my office with books. I know them all by heart. But why then at my very first exam would I cheat? So, come to think of it, it's very American, isn't it? Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Do you know why I cheated this? The night before the exam, my future wife and I went to the cinema. The first time for both of us. They used to call me stone-faced when I was a kid. And our family people didn't show their feelings. It looked like took a cheap silent movie 20 minutes to teach me what love is. I hope you will expose America's shame just as... It's an interesting... Okay, wait. Okay. Sorry, I guess I have to go back. There's no other way. I'm sure you yourself have a similar story. A businessman can account for every million except the first one, right? But you and I have the strength to grow above ourselves. The same can be said about many of our officials, and the mayor is no exception. Carpenter embodies everything that America needs to give up. Theft, fraud, mafia connections. I'm sure all of us, especially people like you, would much rather build a fair system where the rules are transparent and apply equally to everyone, so the security of your business doesn't rely on some person's mood. Imagine a film which shows the audience that we're ruled by corrupt officials who are always getting away with it. It could be just the beginning we need. I'm going to say... so the security, let's see, shows the audience that we're ruled by corrupt officials who are always getting away with it. I don't know. Richard Stripes. I'm gonna say it's an interesting idea, but we're not making a movie like that. Sure, why not? Corrupt official. The best part of all of this is I know I'm about to go bankrupt. So we're not going to make it. After the release of the Bloody Saturday Western, 20,000 people marched in Tampa to introduce censorship in Hollywood. The film caused outrage, especially a scene shot outside a church where some bandits had hung a naked girl. The march was organized by Tampa Baptist minister Billy Day. "Do not misunderstand me. I love America," Day commented the situation to the Los Angeles Tribune. "I love American movies. I've watched a lot of Westerns, and it's true, you can't have a good Western without murder. They kill robbers, horse wrestlers, and even a leader of the Redskins. But you can't do such shameful things to young girls, even in the temple of the Lord." The horse that was trained for the film can't stand the lead actor. She becomes aggressive when he's nearby and refuses to let him in the saddle. Find another horse. I'm so tired. Yes, go, Gabriel. Go on vacation. Everybody's getting sick at the same time. Like, how do I know comic books about a family of brave, which proven extremely popular among school children, breaks all the most... intelligent young people? I don't have a producer. I need a producer. Okay. I'm strangely addicted, but I'm also like kind of tired. The movie was a success. I saw a woman hug her son over after the lights came up. I bet she's thinking he'll make a fine policeman. Nice. You helped your new friend and earned goodwill points. GPs are needed to ask friends for favors. If your GPs drop below 0, the friendship will end. What is going on here? What is this one? Hire personnel who are living in the country without proper documentation. Unofficially, more or less. Sure. Why not? Peter Harris is big the quality of the script. He says he's never heard such wooden dialogue in his whole career. He's constantly arguing with the director and asking for rewrites. Did I spell gilded right? I'm actually not sure. Let's see. Working man, antagonist, corrupt official. Damsel in distress. Struggle for a better life. And unrequited love. It's utter trash. Man, we spent nearly $1 million on that film. I thought only women and children cried at the movies, but when I saw my princess on the big screen, I got to admit, sir, I nearly burst into tears myself. Remarkable business you're in, isn't it? Never would have imagined. Yes, go. You can have a vacation to mourn your uncle's loss. Statue of No Liberty is losing so much money. Why am I being raided? Do I have anything that I should be scared of? Nothing found. Suspicious items. Okay. A police car was parked blocking the exit, and Gabriel Rutkowski couldn't leave the studio in time for an important meeting. He got so angry he called a policeman a piece of shit in a cab, and all things pulled a revolver out of his glove compartment. A police officer panicked and shot Gabriel in the knee. He'll be in the hospital for the next 4 months. Gabriel, you were my actor. During a police raid, Russell Simmons was walking around the studio grounds in costume, wearing a cowboy hat and a revolver. Frightened by the weapon, the police twisted the actor's arm and hurt him badly. It was only later they figured out he wasn't going to attack anyone. Doctors give Russell Simmons 2 months before he's back on set. I think we're going to end this one. Put it away. Dealing with the police is always unpleasant, but there's nothing to be afraid of unless you have something to hide, or you're not adequately prepared. Why not plant one of our own people at the police station to find out in advance about upcoming raids? Los Angeles District Attorney Richard Stripes spoke at an anti-corruption rally outside of City Hall. His sharp criticism of the city made the front page of Los Angeles Tribune. They've ruined Los Angeles. There's corruption everywhere, and the mob and the police are working hand in hand. While City Hall covers for him, I know how to fix it. I have a plan, but I can't do it as district attorney. Political scientist Andrew Crook commented on the speech. Stripes clearly has big plans. We'll soon see him vaulting at the to the mayor's chair, I expect.
Oh.
I have no actors. All my actors are gone. Our lead actor suddenly realized he's a whole head shorter than the actress playing his lover. Put him in high heels. Isn't that what happens to Tom Cruise? Your employee committed suicide? The exit door at the bottom of the abyss of despair. Lydia? So, because, I didn't actually put her in any movies. The last time we talked, I might have seemed a little overconfident, even arrogant. Anyway, I hope you're not offended. Believe me, no one cares about this film business as much as me, and my goal to bring people together, not push them away. I learned this back in my youth in Minsk. My friends and I are bullied by some punks who called themselves the Neiman Gang, and not just us, but the whole neighborhood. So what did I do? I made a deal with all the neighborhood kids, even the ones I couldn't stand, and we called ourselves the Alliance. Together we gave those jerks such a beating that no one has heard from them since. Those were good times. We should make a movie about it sometime. The politicians, the priests, and all the do-good are hypocrites. They're just like the Neiman Gang. They think they can attack us in our business and get away with it. They're exploiting the fact that we're divided. But don't worry, I've got an idea. I even discussed it already with a couple of our colleagues. So don't let them get you down, kid. It's good news on the way. We only have one film in production, but I'm also very broke. We're gonna hold off on that. I think I was supposed to be churning out movies much faster at a faster rate than I was. But one, I never figured out how to hire any actors because everything was kind of tied up in upgrading. So I have no idea. Okay, Line Productions office. I guess. I mean, I really have no idea. Time-wise, all the upgrades take so extremely long. Take a breath for a minute, my son, and listen to this old man. My father, Riccardo Conti, was a great man. A consigliere, all of Sicily feared him. His brother, Giovanni Conti, was all just empty talk. A clown who never did anything except write stupid poems. But who do you think is remembering in my homeland now? In my native Messina, one of the streets is named, if I slaughter any pronunciations, I'm so sorry. One of the streets is named after the poet Giovanni Conti. Riccardo was forgotten a few months after his death. I refused to suffer the fate of my father, so I wrote a book, the story of my life. But when I finished the novel and gave the manuscript to my grandchildren, those jerks didn't read a single page. That's when I realized if you want to be remembered in America, you have to make a movie. We hired professionals and turned the book into a script, and it turned out just fine. Now I want you to make a film with it. I'm willing to give you $1 million to cover the costs. You'll see this film will make a name for everyone involved. How intriguing. Show me the script. First, we need to see how good it is. The protagonist, the hopeless romantic. Once upon a time in Sicily, there lived a boy named Alberto. He was the son of a Colombino Conti, the fourth generation mafioso, a king of thieves known throughout Italy. Alberto had no fondness for his life. Everything was given to him upon a silver platter, like he was a helpless woman. He knew he wanted to build his own happy life for himself. He would step out of his father's shadow and make his own dreams come true. He would go to America. One night, Alberto threw a bunch of grapes into his travel bag and ran away from his parents' house. He grabbed the ore he carved from an olive tree and jumped into a gondola. Few would dare take the voyage to America alone in such a modest craft, but Alberto was brave and full of purpose. After a week of sailing, he arrived in New York and got himself a job at the port. Glad he didn't run into any storms. But he wouldn't be a Conti if he hadn't a sense of adventure. One day, Alberto saw 5 scoundrels with pistols robbing a guy in the street. Alberto stood up for him and fought off the bandits with his bare hands. So happened the poor fellow was no ordinary passerby, but the son of Dale, the mafia boss, who controlled half of New York. In gratitude, Dale took Alberto under his wing and educated him in the local customs. One day, they started trusting him with the most delicate of tasks. Alberto proved himself strong and courageous and quick-witted. He was often said of Alberto, "It's a pity that my son isn't more like his friend." One day at a city dance, Alberto met a girl named Charissa. Alberto liked her smile and invited her out for dinner. It wasn't until the third date that Alberto learned that she was the daughter of none other than Benjamin Desmond, the head of a rival family, the one who controlled the other half of New York. But Alberto wasn't afraid of her father. He would not meet her secretly like a schoolboy. He wanted everyone to see that he and her were in love. Desmond quickly learned of his daughter's adventures and became furious. He struck Cerisa and growled through his teeth, "You will marry my business partner, Bonchel Kruger, or you will die." At the mafia meeting, he delivered his competitor an ultimatum. Hand over your pup, Alberto, or you will regret it. But he would not be betrayed. The boy had become even dearer to him than his own son. Instead, he hid the boy away in an abandoned house on the outskirts of the city. "You must leave this place forever," he said, "and never return." Alberto nodded gratefully and hugged him goodbye. "Don't worry more about Alberto," he said at the next meeting. "I've taken care of him." To this, Desmond replied, "I hope that means you killed him. You know what I do to people who disappoint me." But Alberto couldn't live without his beloved and decided to take Charissa with him. He made his way to Desmond Estate and broke into the mansion. The guards were armed with blades, but his fists were all he needed. He freed his beloved, and later that same day, Alberto and Charissa were on a train to Mexico. Desmond soon discovered that his daughter had run away with Alberto, and just as I thought, he hissed, "You tricked me. You have only yourself to blame, old man." Later that night, Desmond and 10 henchmen surrounded his house and opened fire with a triple-barreled gun. A hail of bullets turned the guards to mincemeat, killing the servants and even Scrugio's son. But by some miracle, he himself survived. He managed to grab a gun and killed one bandit with a well-aimed shot and barricaded himself in a bedroom. Desmond ordered the mansion burned. Scrugio choked and succumbed to the smoke as flames engulfed the building. When Alberto learned that Dale Scrugio had been killed, he clenched his fist so tightly that he left bloody marks on his palms. That evening, Alberto kissed Charissa goodbye and returned to America to get revenge on Desmond. Back in New York, Alberto spoke to the gardener who saw what happened that night. He compiled a kill list, each of Desmond's henchmen involved in the raid. Alberto went from one mobster to the next, taking their lives. He stabbed Fat Sam in the eyes with his throwing knives, plunged a dagger into Skinny Tom's belly, shot Lanky Phil in the head with a pair of revolvers, and threw a garrote around Shorty Winnie's neck. Our hero became as death itself. Before the bandits could reach for their guns, they were already dead on the floor. No one compared with Alberto in precision, strength, or speed. Alberto made his way to the mafia leader's lair, where he found Desmond and he had taken a hostage, Charissa. The poor girl secretly followed her beloved to New York. Her father put a revolver to his daughter's head. "Surrender, Alberto, or you alone will be to blame for her death." Alberto slowly raised his hands, but at the final moment pulled the trigger and fired the chandelier above Desmond's head. The bullet, in an explosion of sparks, ricocheted and hit Desmond right in the temple. Charissa was saved. Finally, the surviving members of both clans came to Alberto with an offer. "Senor, you are the most worthy of our men among us. Be our boss. Let us unite and become stronger than we have ever been before." After some thought, Alberto agreed. He united the clans, and ever since he led the New York family, the most powerful crime syndicate in all of America. And Charissa, Desmond, became his wife. Hey, we made $1 million. But I have no actors to play any of them. Okay, we're gonna close that for 1 second. The ocean breeze and sun gleaming off luxury cars, the smell of restaurants, the mansion on the hills. This is how people like you and me see Los Angeles. But I still remember another Los Angeles, the Los Angeles of my youth. I remember the smog. I remember the bed bugs where me and my wife used to stay.
I remember the stinky canned food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's lots of people still out there living like this, and it breaks my heart. Is there some way that the city could see through our eyes, the eyes of the well-fed? There's only one way: a city tax on the rich. Then we can pay for social programs and help the poor with food and clothing. Raising taxes is never popular, I know. That's why I was hoping maybe one of your actors can support the initiative. If only you knew how much I sympathized. Within 3 months, I'll find 2 actors to sign your petition. A mayor wants to tax the rich? What? A Los Angeles mayor? That's so in character. That's... Just as promised, here's some money. Well, at least we were shaking hands with, Okay. Pre-production without an actor, influential producers. Alright. I am getting tired, I'm going to admit. Hey, it's making money. Uh-oh. Oh, and thanks for playing the demo. On February 27th, Hollywood Animal will be released on Steam Early Access. You continue your game right from this moment. The main fun is still to come. Just create a special save file now. The game will automatically find it, no worries. Don't forget to add the game to your wish list, and see you in Hollywood. All right, how long has it been? I actually don't know. Let's look. It was nearly 3 hours. It was nearly a 3-hour demo. I was into it. There was a few times where it really dragged for me, and I was feeling it. And a couple of times I was like, I'm done. But then something would happen. It would just be enough to keep me wanting to see how well the film did. You know, the script. The fact that I could name my own scripts was actually a lot of fun for me. It was fun to be that kind of creative. For those that don't know, that used to be my job. I used to do that all the time. Think of names and as a type of copywriter. And so that was a little bit of a callback to that. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll keep an eye out.